Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy, Matt Geiger, and it's been a while since we've done a video. Um, I don't really have any excuses. Just a lot of things have been going on. Past few weeks have been quite tough. Just had a lot of things going on. But I thought I'd just do a little update, talk about some of the films that I've been watching. First of all, I just want to start off by saying that I managed to get my modded PS3 working again. I don't know if I shared this story, but a few months back I was playing it with my friend, and all of a sudden the games just stopped working. It just stopped loading for some reason. And then when I went back on it, like all of the games, like 90% of the games had gone. Like the external hard drive wasn't working. So I reached out to, the company. And to be fair, they've always been quite good. X Emulation have been really good at helping, and their responses on Facebook are quite good. But they couldn't really help me. And I was a little bit pissed off because, I sunk nearly £400 into this system. And don't get me wrong, I've already done an in-depth talk about the XS3 modded PS3, and I was disappointed because there was a ton of games on there that I hadn't even played. And I think it sort of brings me to that point of going on a different tangent here, but as much as we love the new generation and all these great games that are coming out, it is nice to go back and be able to play some of these old PS1, PS2, PS3, all these retro games, Game Boy, and all of these cool games or whatever, and to be able to play them, and I think that's why a lot of people get into retro gaming, is to play these games that they missed, or games from their childhood. Although I find that 90% of the time with childhood games, they don't hold up as well as they used to. Don't get me wrong, there are some great games that still hold up in my opinion. Time Splitters, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Dead or Alive, some of the old Dead or Alive fighting games, the original Halos, and all of those great games we grew up playing, right? But yeah, so I went on it this morning because I was trying to see if I could set my modded Xbox up, but for some reason I can't find all the wires and the controllers. So I'm probably guessing they are at my ex's house somewhere. I might reach out to them and see if I can ask and see if they're there, if they can find them for me, because that'd be great, but I don't know. But anyway, I digress. So I thought, right, I'm going to try this PlayStation 3 again. I'm going to see if I can do same thing, put it in. Games aren't there. Nothing's there. So I unplugged the hard drive, put it back in, same thing. I fiddled around with it, and I must have done something. I went onto an installer or whatever, and pressed the X button, and then for some reason all the games were gone again. Like they weren't even showing up that they existed. And then I went back on it, done it again, and now all the games are back working. So and I loaded them up, and they're working fine, fantastic. I'm a little bit weary on how long is it going to stay like this for. Like I said, I think it's what I would call like an 85, maybe 75% complete package. There are some faults and issues with it, as is the case with any modded system. You're always going to have, it's never going to be perfect, right? Because technology and things can go wrong unless you really know what you're doing. For the average person, you're going to need a bit of help, right? But I'm happy that I've got that set back up, and again, even because yeah, But what have I been playing? So I did finish Red Dead Redemption 2. I did a replay of that, and I've got to say, loved it beginning to end. I think Red Dead Redemption 2, in my opinion, is the defining game of the last generation of consoles. It was just a masterpiece in all words. I don't give games 10 out of 10, but Red Dead 2, in my opinion, is a 10 out of 10 game, you know, in the graphics and sound department, the story, the characters, the gameplay. Just a fantastic game. A lot of people never played the original Red Dead, and technically you don't have to, because the only character that's in it from Red Dead 1, main guy anyway, is John. And at the end of Red Dead 2, and I'm so sorry if this is a spoiler, the game's been out for years. At the end of Red Dead 2, when Arthur dies, you continue the game as John. So I think Red Dead 2 roughly ends about maybe a couple years before Red Dead 1. But I loved it. It is fantastic. And then I went back and started continuing on with the Yakuza games. I've been playing Yakuza 3. I've played 0, Kiwami and Kiwami 2. Beaten those ones, and I've got the 3, 4 and 5, 6. Yakuza, man, is another game series that I think a lot of people sleep on, man. I'm going to be honest with you, it's not for everyone, because there is a lot of text, a lot of cutscenes in the game. There's a lot of running back and forth. I think as the games go on, they sort of improved a little bit on that, but just on the sheer, you know, the stories are fantastic in the Yakuza games. They're very weird at times as well. They can be weird and wonderful. Lots of like mini Easter eggs, loads of cool, funny dialogue, lots of mini games, and all of these cool things you can do. I'm quite enjoying the third one, but I still think my favourite out of all of the Yakuza games I've played so far was probably 0. I think 0 just had the best package out of the ones that I have played. So with Yakuza, you've got Yakuza 0, which is the very beginning, right? But that was released, I think, after Yakuza Kiwami 2. Then you've got Yakuza 1 and 2, or Kiwami 1 and 2, which are basically remakes of the first two games, which is kind of good because the second one is extremely expensive and rare because it came out quite late into the PlayStation 2's life from what I remember. Then you have 3, 4 and 5, or you can have the remastered 3, 4 and 5, because 5 was never released in the Western country. So the only way to play Yakuza 5 was to either have a Japanese PlayStation 3 or play the remastered ones. They're not remakes, so they are basically, they don't look as good as Kiwami 1 and 2 and 0. Then you've got 6, Song of Life, and then you have Yakuza Like a Dragon, which technically isn't Yakuza 7. I think it is Yakuza 7, but it isn't, because then they redid the games and they're rebooting the games now as Like a Dragon. So you've got Like a Dragon, I think the Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is the 7th technically, and that one they changed up a little bit. I think they made it more into like semi-turn based combat, which I'm a fan of games that change things up. But at the same time, like, if you know something and you changed it up, I think a lot of people were split on that one, but people still said it was a great game nonetheless. And then I think you've got Like a Dragon Ishin, which is another remake of a game in the Yakuza series, which I don't know the full title, but I think the game was called like Ishin something, I don't know, which is technically not a Yakuza game because it takes place like in like feudal Japan, if I remember correctly. But then you've got Ishin, Like a Dragon, and then you've got Like a Dragon, I think it's The Man Who Changed His Name, I think that's what it's called. And I think that's where the reboot actually truly starts. And then you've got Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I'm sorry if they're out of order. So it is another one of them I think Angry Video Game Nerds needs to do a chronologically confused video about the Yakuza series, right? We have got the Amazon TV show coming out of Like a Dragon or Yakuza, which I believe is following the main story of the first game. I think that's where the show is going to start. I think it's starting around about the first game. The rivalry between Nikishima Yama, I think his name was, and Kiryu-chan. But I was reading an article about the person who's in the show. I think plays the I think he plays Nikishima. I think that's his name, Nikishiyama. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I played the first one. And the person who director told the people in this show that they don't want them playing the game. But a lot of people were saying that I really wanted to play the game. So I'm a little bit worried that that could be the downfall. I mean, we know what happened to The Witcher, right? You know, with what's his face, the guy who originally played Geralt, and you know, Netflix basically said, you know, I forget his name, but the guy who was playing the original actor basically turned around and said, you know, they've completely gone off on a new tangent here. They don't care about the games or the books, and he basically left because he wasn't happy with the way that things were going. And you know what? I commend people like that. You know, if you're going to do something based on a video game or books or whatever, stick to the source material. Yeah, you can take liberties here and there, you know, make it your own thing, right? Make it stand out on its own merits. But if you completely go away from the source material, you're going to lose a lot of fans, and people won't be happy. So I'm hoping with the Yakuza Like a Dragon Prime series, which I think comes out in October, will be pretty good. I've heard some of the people saying that it is the people that have seen like the previews and the early screenings of it have actually said that it's pretty good. But don't sleep on the Yakuza games, right? If you like Shenmue, yeah. Oh, and there's also 2 games also in the Yakuza series, which are called Judgment and Lost Judgment, which I don't know if they take place in the same universe as the Yakuza games, but in that one you're playing as, I think, like a cop or something, like an undercover cop or a spy or something along those lines. So you're not playing as the bad guys, essentially. But I love those games. As for what I've been watching, I've watched quite a few films over the past couple of weeks, but I'm going to talk about a few that sort of stood out to me. I finally got around to watching Toy Story 4 last night, and I've got to say, man, talk about a completely different path they took with that film, right? I mean, the whole Bo Peep going from the sweet little character she was to basically like fucking full on like in the wild, man. That's crazy. I wasn't really a big fan of the style as well. I'm like, when Woody gets stood on, his face gets all squished. Like, isn't he meant to be like plastic? And that, you know, and this whole idea that Woody has basically, you know, outlived his purpose, that kind of is in my opinion, a big middle finger in the face of people that grew up with the original films, because, you know, the whole idea was, yes, Andy had grown up and moved on and we had Bonnie, but now in the new film, because we are getting a Toy Story 5, it makes me think, are we going to see Woody's adventure, and sort of see Woody's living in the wild and all these new characters, right? Or are we gonna see the Buzz side of the story, you know? And that really sort of pissed me off. The whole Woody and Buzz are now basically gone their separate ways. Like, why? I don't know. I enjoyed the movie for what it was, but in my opinion, it left a lot of questions in my head, like how are they going to continue the story and where are they going to go? Is the fifth film going to be like split into two parts? We're going to see the Bonnie story with Buzz and Ham and, you know, all the classic Toy Story characters, and then we're going to see the Woody side of the thing with all these new characters or whatever. But yeah, nonetheless, it was a pretty good film and it was heartfelt, but in my opinion, it just left a lot of the ending, in my opinion, was just I was half expecting them to like think the whole point of Woody sort of lost his way. I still think Toy Story should go the complete opposite direction and do a movie based on Woody's origin story. So you know we have the Buzz Lightyear film, which I know is technically not part of Toy Story. It's based on the character of Buzz Lightyear, but I think we should do a prequel to the original Toy Story before Buzz Lightyear, and sort of see where Woody came from. Because we already know Woody in Toy Story 2 was originally from, you know, Woody's Roundup and whatever. But I'd like to see that, even if it was like a half an hour short. You know, that'd be an interesting one. Maybe there is. I don't know. Another couple films I watched was the Don't Breathe movies, and those. The first one, okay, yeah, I like the concept of this blind killer guy or whatever. You're breaking into his house and that. It was quite tense, quite good. But the second one, Jesus Christ, talk about a complete opposite direction. You know, you've gone from this guy who's, you know, an ex-Marine or whatever, and you know, to basically in the second film, man's fucking John Wick. I'm not even gonna lie, it legitimately is just blind John Wick. The guy's dog gets killed by these people, and obviously this little girl or whatever, he found her and there's a secret or whatever. But I didn't hate the second film, but I thought it was a complete opposite direction. You've gone from sort of semi-horror thriller type movie to basically John Wick with a blind guy. But I digress, man. But there were some good kills in that movie. And the last film I want to talk about, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is extremely a film that I would highly recommend. It's called Late at Night with the Devil. It's on Shudder. I think it came out this year. I think it's a Shudder original. I could be wrong. And it's basically, the whole movie is done in the style of like a 70s talk show. Like, you know, like the old talk shows, like the Johnny Carson show, Saturday Night Live, all of those late night talk shows. But the whole movie is done like, it's one of those sort of lost episode type movies. So it's got that string attached to it. But the movie is really well done because it's basically about like a demon, obviously. I don't want to spoil it because it is really well done. I'll admit the ending was a little bit weird. If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. But I really thought it was well done and creative. I love when horror movies take chances and try something new. It is a little bit slow, and but like I said, it's like you're just watching an old talk show episode. And I thought it was really well done. There are sort of scenes where it goes into like sort of sepia, black and white, where you see like the guys backstage talking about what's just happened and that. And I thought it was really well done. And do you know what? Like, prompts to the people that created that movie, because there aren't many movies out there, especially horror, that make me go, I've never seen anything like this. And that was one of the few horror movies that I've gone, that movie was really creative and really well done. But I digress. So yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on. I won't really talking much into the personal things going on in my life because there's no point. But as I say, I'm probably gonna I don't know, I might have a friend be popping over in a little bit. Now that I've got my modded PS3 up and running again, I'll be able to jump on and play a couple of games with him, so I'm looking forward to seeing that if he's popping over. Last night I watched that Cursed Films on Shudder, which actually I thought it was a cool little documentary series. I've still got about 4 episodes left of it. The Wizard of Oz one was really good, to be fair. I think it does a good job of it's not what you think. Like, it's not like these people that are sitting here and going, oh, this movie is cursed, like all the YouTubers, you know, that take the whole like thing that happened with the Crow and like, oh, he was killed by the mafia or whatever. The documentary does a good job of actually just sort of saying what actually truly happened, rather than what people are speculating, and sort of talk about, you know, we can see why people think these movies are cursed, but this is the reality. And I think a lot of people need to do shows like that, because I think the problem is with the internet, like they even said in the show, is anyone can upload a document or an article or a video to the internet and basically say this is what truly happened. Like the whole scene from Wizard of Oz with the supposedly hanging Munchkin. You know, don't get me wrong, there are some pretty shifty things that happened on that movie. But I think that whole thing was blown up by the internet, you know, where all these people saying, oh, this movie killed Judy Garland and all of this or whatever. I think that is where things get dangerous and things get blown up. So I think when a movie or a show or a documentary comes along and addresses these things that happened, that the internet blew up over, you know, people will still sit there and be skeptical about it. But I think a logical thing, and to hear it from the horse's mouth, is the way to go. I don't know what I'm watching tonight, so I don't know. But I digress. I'm gonna maybe have a little bite to eat or something now. I don't know what my plans are. I'm waiting to hear back from my friend, and then we'll either be playing some games together or pop out for a quick drink or something. But I digress. Anyway, sorry I haven't uploaded a video in a while. I was away for a couple of weeks again. Sort of back and forth at the moment. But yeah, so anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you've been playing, watching recently. Let me know if you've seen the movie Late at Night at with the Devil. If you haven't, out of all of the films that I watched over these past 2 weeks, that is the one that I would recommend. Anyway guys, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.